Port, port, port! Go to port!
I am! Whirlpool got me!
Keep going, port. Keep going, port.
I am going port!
Out in the wind, that's where you'll find me. Out in the wind, long, long gone. A new day begins, where nothing binds me. I'm letting go of all that's ever been. I'm in the wind.
So here we are again, very early start. We're just upping the anchor now. Rob's up there in the freezing cold, and we've got about 6 degrees and about 6 knots of wind, which isn't the greatest sailing wind, but we're heading for Lady Musgrave, one of our favourite spots. What a beautiful sunrise it's going to be. It's actually worth getting up for. I know, my eyes wouldn't open.
Did you say that?
Hey, it's alright once I'm up and I've had my coffee, but it's just getting those eyes open.
Not a bad sort of sunrise to sail into. We're not sailing off into the sunset. We're sailing off into the sunrise. La Nina in front of us have just popped their mainsail up. We've only got about 5 or 6 knots of wind at the moment. It's pretty well behind us. But once we get out offshore, we're expecting around 10 or 12 this morning, and then for it to ease off, and we're probably going to end up motor sailing into Lady Musgrave Island. But absolutely gorgeous, that's for sure, to be leaving Burnett Heads in these conditions.
It's nice that we have La Nina sailing along with us. Gives us a better view. Sailboats look absolutely wonderful, silhouetted against the sun.
If it gets too dark, I'll be your light. Be your light. I'll be your light. If it gets too dark, I'll be your light.
Autopilot's going itself nicely now. Interior settled down, we're pretty much on course. Steering 356 to Lady Musgrave Island. We've done almost 6 nautical miles in the first hour, which isn't a bad thing. That includes getting the anchor up and faffing around in the river, getting the sail up, etc. Getting along at 6.5, 7 knots at the moment. We've got 16, 17 knots of wind. We've gone with mainsail and headsail, left the mizzen in the bag. The wind is supposed to go around behind us a bit more, so we just figured it was easier while Karen's sort of still a bit one-armed, a bit easier for me to be dealing with sails if I'm only worrying about 2. And if we're doing 6.5, 7 knots, we're going to get to the island, well, at the moment a little bit earlier than the time that we expected and planned for. The wind came right round behind us and it's down to like 5 and 6 knots. The headsail just couldn't stay full. We were very underpowered from the sails then, and this swell hitting us on the stern quarter was just throwing us all over the place. And the autopilot, Ben and Jerry, just threw their hands in the air and said, nah, we can't do this. So we've rolled away the headsail. We've still got the mainsail out, and we've got some engine going at reasonably low revs. Between the mainsail and it, we're getting along at 6 knots, and the autopilot's handling it, and the boat's a lot more settled. We're not getting thrown sideways into these swells every 3 minutes.
And we're doing this because we've got to get into a reef area. The reason we've had the engine on is so that we maintain speed, because we actually need to get into Lady Musgrave, which is a coral atoll, and it's got a narrow pass through there, and we need to be able to see the reef. And even with our Polaroid sunglasses, you need good sunlight, and if the sun's too low to the horizon, we won't see it. We also need to get there on a tidal flow, because it's quite strong in and out, so we want to come in on the slack tide, which is around the 3:30 mark.
Yeah, we've still got 3 hours to go. We're averaging 6.25 knots under sail. Now motor sailing, we're averaging 6.25 knots. So we are still due to be in there around about that 3 o'clock mark. Low tide is at 3:26, so we should be just about on the slack.
Rob's just doing some galley work. He's cleaning the rest of our dirty potatoes that came from the Lockyer Valley. That was how many weeks ago now, Rob? 4 weeks, so a month. So this is what we've got left of our potatoes. So we're just cleaning them up, and they will be used for dinner in the next couple of weeks.
After we made our way around the north side of Lady Musgrave Island and headed for the channel through the reef, we were met by a very friendly welcoming party, a huge pod of playful dolphins.
We should be just before slack, so we should be entering at 2 minutes to 3. Low tide is at 3:20.
Heading your way here.
You are out of my way, thank you very much. Remember to keep your arms down low, not up high, so I can see them. Over.
Roger that.
Awesome.
You see your red and your green.
Go to clean them, right?
tide's still running out.
Yeah, I see that. Though we shouldn't have too much of tidal run, I would have thought.
Get ready for some trouble.
Already happening.
Port, port, port! Go to port!
I am! Whirlpool got me!
That's good, that's good. Keep going, port. Keep going, port.
I am! Going port, going
Keep
port!
going, port.
Holding port!
Keep going, port.
I am holding port!
We are clear. Keep going, port. Okay, start to straighten up.
Sorry, whirlpool got me there.
Straight ahead, straight ahead.
All good. Eyes forward, what's ahead?
Keep heading for the white marker. Then we're going to do a real 90-degree turn to starboard.
Man, that whirlpool was good.
Don't get too close over to the green because it'll drag you into it. Okay, start your turn when you're ready.
I see bombies below.
Find your track, find your track.
Is Michelle and Rich okay?
Straight ahead's good. What's that depth?
8.1, 8.2.
So we're going straight over bombies at the moment, but they're well down.
See them. They're all good.
Clear ahead now.
Around 7.4.
All sand ahead.
I am! Whirlpool got me!
With the anchor down, the boat secured, and our pulse rates having slowly returned to normal, there was never a more needed glass of wine on the bow to be accompanied by nibbles and a glorious Great Barrier Reef sunset. Lady Musgrave Lagoon certainly turned one on for us. Our previous entry and exits through narrow Reef Lagoon channels here at Lady Musgrave and also at Fitzroy Reef further north have all been made near the high tide slack with no problems at all. We knew there's plenty of depth in the Lady Musgrave channel, so assumed the low tide slack would also be straightforward. What we didn't account for was that for the last part of the run-out tide, the water level inside the lagoon falls below most of the surrounding reef, so almost all the remaining water has to run out through the channel and continues to do so with force for a time after the nominated time of low tide. This happens until the level inside and outside the lagoon equalises. So unlike the high water slack, which provides a long window of calm through the channel, at low water it's a lot safer to wait for a while after the nominated time of low until the current settles down. But if you must enter through the channel while the current's flowing, make sure you stay right in the centre of it, well away from the edges where back eddy currents can turn your boat very quickly, as we experienced, fortunately without sustaining any damage. So yet another lesson learned, and definitely one mistake we won't be repeating.
A really quick but fun thing to do is my pizza roses, and they are simply just puff pastry, ready-made puff pastry cut into strips, some tomato sauce on, some herbs, dried herbs, and then with your salami, you cut it in half, so pop them on, overlapping, the tops out, fold up the base, just cover, cut edges and roll from one end pulling out the petals. And then you pop them in an oven for between 15 and 20 minutes. So, not always do you have to take dip and chips. Something as easy as this can be done in no time.
This is the contrast this morning at Lady Musgrave Island compared to when we came in yesterday afternoon and anchored up in absolutely glassed out conditions. We've got 20 knots blowing here now from the south, and anyone that says it's not a good anchorage, we're near high tide, the surf's rolling over the reef there, and from an anchorage point of view, we're nice and safe and secure in here and quite comfortable. There are more boats here than I have ever seen. I counted over 20 yesterday.
Today is one of those days we just can't get off the boat. It's a wee bit windy and a little bit rough in the anchorage, so getting on and off the dinghy isn't impossible, but it's just not enjoyable. So we have decided to have a day editing, cooking, eating, reading, and maybe a drink later.
And maybe a bit of nothing.
Maybe a bit of nothing.
Next time on Dreamtime Sail, we get off the boat and show you why we consider Lady Musgrave Island one of Australia's most beautiful cruising destinations. We absolutely love the place.
And in our galley, I whip up another batch of incredibly healthy but equally scrumptious granola that we enjoy for breakfast most mornings on Our Dreamtime.
If you're enjoying our videos, please make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. It really does help us with YouTube to reach more people. If you also hit the bell button, you'll be notified each time we release a new episode. Come sail with us again soon.